Step 5. We admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. After taking a thorough fourth step, we have to deal with what we have found in our inventory. We have decided what our defects are, but we still don't know how to deal with them. We are told that if we keep these defects inside us, they could lead us to using again. We have to beware of half measures on this step. Holding on to our own garbage would eventually sicken us and hold us back from really taking part in this new way of life. If we take a fifth step, but we really don't get honest, we will have the same negative results that dishonesty brought us in the past. Our higher power will be with us when we do this, and will help to free the fear of facing ourselves and another human being. Many of us, before we take step 5, fear that God will turn away from us when we reveal ourselves to Him. It seemed unnecessary to some of us to admit the exact nature of our wrongs to God. God already knows all that stuff, we rationalized. True, God does already know all that stuff, but until we face God with it, we will never really believe that He does. The admission must come from our own lips to be truly effective for us. For years, we have avoided seeing ourselves as we really are. We were ashamed of ourselves and felt isolated from the rest of the world. Now, we've got this shameful past trapped on paper. We can sweep it out of our lives, if we face it and admit it. It would be a tragic mistake to have it all written down and then just shove it into a drawer. We have feared that if we ever revealed ourselves as we really were, we would surely be rejected. Maybe this was because we had already rejected ourselves. We were so self-centered that we didn't realize just how much we had in common with our fellow addicts. Before coming to Narcotics Anonymous, we had felt that no one could ever relate to us or understand the reasons behind the things we had done. We quickly realized that we had been unrealistic in feeling that way. NA people did understand us. We must carefully choose the person who is to hear our fifth step. Although there is no hard rule about what kind of person we should choose, it is important that we trust that person. Only complete confidence in the person's integrity and closed mouth can make us willing to be thorough in this step. Some of us take our fifth step with a total stranger, but most of us feel most comfortable choosing a fellow member of NA. We know that a fellow addict would be less likely to judge us with malice. People often select clergymen, or members of the medical profession, because these people are accustomed to keeping confidences in their work. Whoever we select, we make certain that they know what we are attempting to do and why we are doing it. We are often amazed at how willing most people are to help us. We never knew that people actually cared enough about us to want to help in our recovery. Once we make up our minds and are actually alone with the person we have chosen to accept our confidence, we proceed with enthusiasm. We want to be very definite and thorough. We realize that this is a life and death matter. There is a danger that we will exaggerate our wrongs, and an equal danger that we will minimize or rationalize away our part in situations. If we are anything like we were when we first entered the NA fellowship, we will still tend to want to sound good. This is a luxury we can't afford. This step must cut into our character defects and expose our motives and our actions for what they really were. We have no right to expect these things to reveal themselves. It isn't easy, but it is simple. We want to tell the truth, cut and dry, as quickly as possible. We do not procrastinate. We will never be able to name all of our past mistakes, so we need not expect our first spoken inventory to be perfect. If we choose, we will be continuing the process of self-assessment for the rest of our lives. For now, we will try to get most of the garbage out in the first session. For many years, we have covered up our low self-esteem by hiding behind phony images that we hoped would fool people. Unfortunately, we ended up fooling ourselves more than anyone. Although we often appeared attractive and confident on the outside, we were really hiding a shaky, insecure person on the inside. One thing you can't hide is when you're crippled inside. The masks have to go. Once we had taken this step, we felt lightened and refreshed. We were finally free to be ourselves, because we were not trying to cover anything up. It was a great relief to be rid of all our secrets, to share the burden of our past guilt. Usually, as we share this step, the listener will share some of his story too, and we will find out that the things about ourselves that we thought were so awful or different weren't all that unusual. We see, by the acceptance in the eyes of our confidant, that we can be forgiven, even loved, just the way we are. Even though our examination of ourselves usually reveals something about ourselves that we don't particularly like, facing these things and bringing them out in the open makes it possible for us to deal with them constructively. And, now that they are out of the closet ready to be faced and dealt with, we realize that these things about ourselves can be changed. We cannot make these changes alone. We need our higher power's help, and the help of the Narcotics Anonymous Fellowship.